A drenched girl in a maid's uniform stands in the pouring rain, clutching a small bag. Behind her, the mansion gates slam shut. Rich lady, screaming, "You think you can talk back to me? You're trash! Stay away from my house!" Just then, a sleek black Rolls-Royce stops near the curb. A billionaire steps out, umbrella in hand, staring at the shivering girl with quiet curiosity. Billionaire to driver. "Wait, who is she?" Cut to narrator voice. Narrator. Thrown out with nothing, but fate was about to introduce her to the man who would change her life forever. Maria Jenkins, 22, was a maid in the Monroe estate in Connecticut. Abandoned by her mother at 12 and raised in foster care, she had learned to survive the hard way. Her only crime today, accidentally spilling orange juice on Mrs. Monroe's designer rug, that morning had started like every other. Maria quietly scrubbed the marble floors, careful not to breathe too loudly. The Monroe family, ruthless, entitled, and addicted to luxury, treated staff like disposable napkins. But today was different. While serving breakfast, their teenage daughter tripped Maria, and the tray of juice went flying, straight onto the imported Persian rug. Instead of owning up, the daughter screamed, "She did it!" And without hearing her side, Mrs. Monroe dragged Maria to the gate and threw her out. No final pay, no references, no shoes even, just slippers on her feet and tears on her cheeks. As the storm rolled in, Maria sat on the curb outside the mansion, hugging herself. Then a luxury Rolls-Royce pulled over. A man stepped out, tall, impeccably dressed, kind eyes. "Are you all right?" he asked. Maria hesitated. I, I just lost my job." The man frowned at the mansion. "Let me guess. Monroe's?" She nodded slowly, and he chuckled. "Figures. Hop in. You'll catch pneumonia out here." I can't. I don't know you." "Then let me introduce myself. Jonathan Hart, CEO of Hart Tech and their landlord. And I've been looking for someone real to work with. Someone like you." Maria sits silently in the back seat of the Rolls-Royce, her damp clothes soaking into the plush leather, unsure if this is a trap or a miracle. Jonathan Hart didn't say much on the drive. He simply offered her a warm towel, a bottled water, and the kind of silence that didn't feel threatening, but thoughtful. They pulled into a discreet private building downtown. Not his mansion, but a quiet side property. A kind older woman named Grace greeted Maria at the door. "Give her the guest room upstairs," Jonathan instructed, "and tomorrow give her a tour of Hart Tech HQ." Maria blinked. "Why would you do this for me?" Jonathan turned around slowly, eyes serious. "Because I was raised by a woman like you. A woman with calloused hands and a clean heart. And I trust people like that more than anyone in my boardroom." The next day at Hart Tech headquarters, Maria couldn't believe her eyes. People dressed like she'd only seen on TV. Glass elevators, security everywhere. But Jonathan walked beside her like she belonged. That morning, he surprised her with a simple offer. "I want you to join a special program I created for people with potential who were never given a chance. You'd be the first." Maria's eyes widened. "I'm just a maid." Jonathan leaned forward. You're a survivor, and I've seen more grit in you in 1 minute than I've seen in 10 board members." But not everyone agreed. One of Jonathan's executives, Amanda Fields, sneered. "Sir, with all due respect, you're giving a project assistant role to a janitor? What kind of PR nightmare are you inviting?" Jonathan simply smiled. "The kind where a real person reminds us why we started this company." But Maria had to prove herself. Her first week? Tough. She stayed up late learning spreadsheets, spilled coffee on a keyboard, got laughed at in the break room. But when a glitch crashed a major software rollout, Maria, remembering how she used to fix old computers in foster care, quietly traced the bug. When it failed, she hesitantly told Jonathan, "I think I found the issue. It's in the permissions protocol. Line 341. Jonathan's face lit up. She was right. By the end of the week, Maria wasn't just the maid. She was the girl who saved Hart Tech's biggest launch. That night, Jonathan walked her to her new apartment, gifted to her rent-free for a year. "You've earned more than just a second chance," he said. "You've earned my respect." Scene opens with a grand gala at the Hart Tech headquarters rooftop. Maria steps out in a sleek, elegant dress, nervous but glowing. Maria Jenkins was no longer the timid maid who was thrown out in the rain. She was now project director of Heart Tech Rise, a program helping underprivileged young adults train in tech careers. She'd spoken at 2 women's empowerment summits and had just been featured in a small business journal article titled, From Maid to Mentor. But tonight was different. Tonight, Jonathan Hart was publicly announcing her as the Vice President of Community Innovation, a position with real power, a 6-figure salary, and the chance to change hundreds of lives. Before stepping onto the stage, Jonathan looked at her with a soft smile. "You still think you're just a maid?" Maria shook her head, eyes filled with tears. "Number not anymore." But fate had one last twist. Just as Jonathan began his speech, a commotion broke out at the back of the ballroom. Mrs. Monroe and her daughter had crashed the event. She marched up arrogantly, grabbing a microphone. "This woman is a liar, a fraud. She used to scrub my floors. Now she's pretending to be some executive?" Gasps filled the room. Maria froze, but Jonathan didn't. He stepped forward calmly. "Yes, she was your maid, and you threw her out like trash. That's why I bought your mansion 2 weeks ago." Mrs. Monroe blinked. "What?" Jonathan smiled. "Check your email. I made an offer through a shell company. Effective today, you're a tenant in my property." Laughter broke out in the crowd. This woman wasn't born with wealth or privilege, but she's earned every inch of this success. She's not just a survivor, she's a builder. And as of today, she's helping us build a future where nobody gets left behind. The crowd erupted. Maria stood on stage holding back tears, overwhelmed but powerful. That night after the party, she found Jonathan looking out over the city skyline. She whispered, "Why did you help me that first day?" He looked at her, then handed her a tiny photograph. It was of a young boy, him, hugging a woman in a maid's apron. "My mom. She worked just like you. No one ever gave her a chance. I swore, if I ever got rich, I'd change that for someone." Maria touched the photo with trembling fingers. She didn't just meet a billionaire. She met a man who saw her worth. "One day I'll do the same for someone else."